Welcome to the Royal Calcutta Turf Club for Calcutta Races Summer Meeting, first day, Wednesday, 15th March 2023 race preview. The first race of the afternoon is the Aspirant Handicap for horses rated 1 to 26 to be ridden by jockeys of Indian nationality to be run over a distance of 1200 meters. The first runner we are looking at is number 1, Copper. Copper has had 4 starts so far in the season. In his last start, race number 112, it went over 1400 meters, whereas it was in second spot as they entered the home straight into the last 250 meters or so. When asked for an effort, Copper fell back and eventually finished on 6th of 7 runners. It was observed after the race that Copper was trotting lame. Number 2 is Eastern Empress. Eastern Empress also has had 4 starts so far. His best start was his first start of the season where it finished on 4th of 6 runners behind script in race number 7. Since then has had 3 unplaced efforts, including the last start it had in race number 74 where it went over 1200 meters, was in last spot as they entered the home straight, stayed on in last, it detached last, and it was observed after the race that Eastern Empress was trotting lame. Number 3 is Chetak. Chetak has had 8 starts so far in the season, has had placed effort in race number 67 where it finished on 3rd behind Tauron Arrow over 1400 meters. Since then has been fancied in one start where it finished on 6th of 7 runners behind script in race number 74. In his last start, Chetak went on a start to finish mission into the last 300 meters. It blew up and eventually finished on 5th, and it was observed after the race that Chetak was trotting lame. Runners we got. Number 4 is Misty Grey, number 5 Sea Dragon, number 6 Daddy's Dream, number 7 Light in the Sky. Misty Grey, who eventually finished on 5th after travelling in last spot for most while in race number 107 where they went over 1100 meters. Number 5 Sea Dragon. Sea Dragon was in a forward position as they entered the last 200 meters, then fell back and eventually finished on 4th. Number 6 Daddy's Dream took the turn in 6th spot, fell back and finished on 7th. Number 7 Light in the Sky, who was in 5th spot when asked for an effort, weekend and finished on 6th of 7 runners. The winner here was Script, who won that race by 2.5 lengths. We move on to the second race of the afternoon, the Queen's Court Plate for maiden horses 3-year-old only to be run over a distance of 1100 meters. Couple of runners we are looking at from race number 102. Number 1 is Mahabala. Mahabala, who had an earlier start where it finished on 7th in race number 87 behind Contribute. In this start, Mahabala was in a prominent position as they entered the home straight, was in 3rd spot and eventually weakened and finished on 4th. Number 2 is Skybolt. Skybolt was in 6th spot as they entered the home straight, did not improve any further and eventually finished on 6th. It was slow out of the gates and eventually ran together with the field. Again, we look at 2 runners. Number 3 is Akanta, Dali out of Smoking Bell. Number 6 is Sweet Legacy, When Legend out of Glamorous Approach. Akanta, who's had 3 starts. First up, it finished on 3rd in race number 43. Then it finished on 2nd in race number 61. In its last start, over 1600 meters, was in 2nd spot and eventually weakened and finished on 3rd. Number 6, Sweet Legacy, who's also had 3 starts. Earlier started, finished on 3rd in race number 84. Over here, it took the turn in 4th spot and eventually finished on 4th. The winner here was Merope. Number 4 is Jamaica, Rodrigo O'Connor out of Touch My Soul. 1 start for Jamaica in race number 64 where it went over 1200 meters, was in front as they entered the home straight, then when asked for an effort was a little flat-footed, and the one which came up with a big run down the center and took charge, went away from the field, was Kind of Magic, and Jamaica had an educative run and finished on 3rd. Moving on to the third race of the afternoon, the Golden Can Handicap for horses rated 21 to 46, rated 1 to 26 to be run over a distance of 1100 meters. First up, we got 3 runners which went up against each other in race number 106. One is Trebia. Trebia was in 4th spot and stayed on in 4th in a clustered finish. Number 3 was Indian Tiger. Indian Tiger was leading the pack, then kept on finding something towards the inside and eventually held on for 3rd spot. And number 8 is Ahan. Ahan was challenging for the lead throughout and eventually fell short by about length and 3/4. The winner here was Regency Gold, who won that race with a measure of comfort. Number 2 is Yaz. Yaz already has a couple of brackets to his name. In race number 59 it won, beating Swift Lady. Race number 84 it beat UV. In his last start, Yaz went on a start-to-finish mission, as you can see towards the inside in the left of your screen. Eventually finished on 4th. The winner was Agostini Karachi, who took charge into the last 200 meters and shot away from them, won the race by about 4 lengths. Number 5 is Angel Light. Sedgefield out of Run with the Spirit. In his last start in race number 116 was in 8th spot as they entered the home straight. When they asked for an effort, did not really accelerate, eventually finished on 8th of 9 runners. The winner here was Atlantica, who won that race by length and 3 parts. Number 6 is Dubai Bay, win legend out of Twice Over. Dubai Bay has had 4 starts so far. In his last start, race number 54, it was in front as they entered the home straight, tried to kick away but there was no acceleration and eventually fell short and finished on 3rd. The winner here was Odin, who got into a battle for a while and eventually prevailed by about length and a half. Number 7 is East Side, who's had 4 starts. His best start perhaps was in race number 83, where it finished on 4th. In its last start, East Side was in 5th spot as they entered the home straight, came up with a run down the centre, but the run petered out and eventually East Side could only finish 6th of 12 runners. The winner here was Shivalik Silk, who won that race by about half a length. Number 9 is Lightning Charlie. Lightning Charlie has had 6 starts without really bothering the judges for the minor placings. In his last start in race number 114, Lightning Charlie was in 5th spot as they entered the home straight. When asked for an effort, Lightning Charlie really ran out of gas and finished on 2nd last. The race was eventually dead-heated between Mount Reno and Hashtag. Moving on to the 4th race of the afternoon, the Misty Melody Handicap for horses rated 41 to 66, rated 21 to 46, eligible to be run over a distance of 1100 meters. First up, we are looking at 1000 words. 1000 words, after switching base from Southern India, has had 3 starts. First start, it finished on 7th in race number 72 behind Risina Star. Then it finished on 3rd in race number 90 behind Delphine. In its last start, 1000 words again went on a start-to-finish mission, then gave up into the last 250 meters or so. The race was won by Risina Star, who won that race by about 2 3/4 lengths. Number 2 is Livicilla, has had 3 starts so far. Not too impressive season for Livicilla. In its first start, it finished on 5th in race number 2 behind 3rd Avenue. Then it finished on 5th again in race number 39 behind Silver Reed. And his last start was in 7th spot as they entered the home straight, then weakened, and eventually finished on 8th. This was in race number 77, where it went over 1400 meters. Couple of runners we are looking at. First, number 3 is Morning Star, earlier known as Lucky Chance. Morning Star was in 2nd spot as they entered the home straight. Then there was a 3-way finish and Morning Star just missed out and finished on 3rd. Number 6 is the other runner we are looking at, is Devuska. Devuska was in 5th spot as they entered the home straight. When asked for an effort, Devuska didn't have much to offer. There was some interference and eventually Devuska finished on 6th of 7 runners. The winner here was Tycoonus, who got that race in a 3-way finish. Number 4 is the Flying Eagle. The Flying Eagle, the start was in race number 92, where the Flying Eagle was in 5th spot. This was going over 1200 meters. Then when asked for an effort, Flying Eagle did accelerate and eventually finished on 4th. The winner here was Pepper, who won that race by a widening margin of 7 1/4 lengths. And it was observed after the race that the Flying Eagle was trotting lame. Number 5 is Maktub. Maktub has had 3 starts so far. Earlier start in race number 89, it finished on 3rd behind Harvest Time over 1400 meters. The start we are looking at is from race number 118, where Maktub was on a start-to-finish mission, but into the last 350 meters, Maktub weakened and eventually finished on 4th. The winner here was Multi-Stara, who won that race by about 4 lengths. Number 7 is Centurion. Centurion, the start we are looking at is from race number 89, where Centurion was in 9th spot as they entered the home straight, then weaved a passage down the center and challenged for the lead with Harvest Time, but then eventually fell short by about length and 3/4, and the winner was Harvest Time. Lastly, we got number 9, Mark 1, a recent import from southern India. Only start Mark 1 had on the Calcutta track was in race number 108, where it ran a very forward race and eventually weakened and finished on 9th. The winner here was Only You, won that race by about a length and a half. We move on to the 5th race of the afternoon, the 1xBet Metropolitan, the feature race of the day for horses rated 95 and above, to be run over a distance of 1200 meters. First up, we are looking at a couple of runners from race number 115. One was Awesome One and number 5 was Monfortino. Awesome One, who was in second position, chased the eventual winner, but then Awesome One settled for third spot. Number 5, Monfortino, was winner in his earlier start over 1200 meters, where it got the measure of hidden gold. Over here, Monfortino again went on a start-to-finish mission, eventually weakened and finished on 4th. Number 2 is Anastasia. Anastasia has a couple of starts. In race number 5, it got the measure of hidden gold and won that race by about length and 2 1/4 lengths. In his last start, Anastasia was in 6th spot when asked for an effort, did make up a couple of placings and eventually finished on 4th, and it was observed after the race that Anastasia had bled through the nostrils. Number 3 is Tactical Command. Tactical Command, after coming down from southern India, had one start over here in race number 81 over 1200 meters, where it was in 8th spot. Made some late eye-catching gains and eventually finished on 3rd. The winner here was Monfortino, who won that race by a close margin of short neck. Number 4 is Soaring High. Soaring High has had 4 starts in the season, and according to its high standards, it has had a mediocre season so far. In race number 65, Soaring High was in 5th spot as they ended the home straight, eventually weakened and finished on 6th. The winner here was Agnostic, who won that race by a length and a quarter. We move on to the 6th race of the afternoon, the Bid for Gold handicap for horses rated 41 to 66, rated 21 to 46, eligible to be run over a distance of 1400 meters. First up, looking at 2 runners. Number 2 is Agostini Karachi and number 6 is Ghost. Agostini Karachi, this was its second win of the season in race number 113, where it raced in 5th spot, then burst out of the pack and won that race by a widening margin of 4 lengths. Number 6, Ghost, who has had very many starts in this season. In his last start, Ghost was slow out of the gates and took the turn in 7th spot, but did make up a couple of placings and eventually finished on 5th. Number 3 is Bahulian, very sparingly raced horse. In his last start, Bahulian was in 10th spot. Then when asked for an effort, Bahulian did not really accelerate the way the jockey would have liked and eventually weakened and finished on 2nd last. The winner here was Harvest Time, who won that race by a length and a quarter. Number 5 is Mandolin. Mandolin, already winner in one of his starts and has placed in a couple of other starts. In race number 48, it won, beating Divine Hunt. In his last start, Mandolin was in 4th spot as they entered the home straight and took the inside run. Flattered for a while, but then weakened and eventually finished on a close 4th. The winner here was Only You, who won that race by a length and a half. Number 7 is Tycoonist. Tycoonist already has 2 wins, going for a hat-trick here. One in race number 85, getting the measure of Jawai. Then it won in race number 103, the one we are looking at, where it went to a start-to-finish mission and came under pressure from a couple of runners, but kept on finding something and won that race in a 3-way finish by a head and short head, beating Star Justice into 2nd. Number 8 is Whistleblower, number 9 is Tar. They both raced against each other in race number 104, where Whistleblower took the turn in 2nd spot, weakened slightly and finished on 4th. Number 9, Tar, who was in 5th spot, was a little slowly out of the gates and eventually made up some placings towards the inside and finished on 3rd. The winner here was Dubai Gold, who won that race by a close margin of a short head on the post. Number 10 is Dubai Star. Dubai Star has had 6 starts so far in this season. This run we are looking at is from race number 116, where it was in 4th spot, then came up with a run and eventually fell short by about length and 3/4 and finished on 2nd. The winner was Atlantica. Moving on to the 7th and last race of the day, the Winged Tiger Handicap for horses rated 21 to 46, rated 1 to 26, eligible to be run over a distance of 1600 meters. First runner we are looking at is number 1, Rocka. Rocka, after fluttering in quite a few starts, finally came good in race number 88, where it raced over 1600 meters, was in 3rd spot when given the cue by jockey. Rocka was accelerating as they entered the last 250 meters and won that race, beating Randolph by about 2 3/4 of a length. At 4 runners, number 2 Dream Station in race number 110, where it was in forward position but eventually weakened and finished on 5th. Number 4 is Creation of God. Creation of God had placed in earlier 2 starts. In this start, Creation of God was in 2nd spot, then weakened and finished on 7th. Number 6 is So Special. So Special placed in race number 34 behind Regency's Pine, finished on 2nd in this race. So Special finished on 6th. And number 7 is Divine Chakra, who won an earlier start in race number 60. Over here, Divine Chakra finished on an eye-catching 2nd behind Beautiful. Couple of runners again. Number 3 is Odin, who was a winner in race number 54 over 2000 meters, where it got the measure of Prosperous Prince. In this race, Odin was racing in 7th spot and stayed on in 7th, and it was observed after the race that Odin was trotting lame. And the other runner was number 9, Free Spirited. Free Spirited was in 3rd spot, took the inside run and stayed on in 3rd. The winner here was Atlantica, who won that race about length and 3/4. Number 5 is Magnite. Magnite has had 4 starts. His best start was his first start in race number 85, where it finished on 3rd behind Tycoonist. Since then has gone off the boil, so to speak. In race number 114, the one we are looking at was in 10th spot when asked for an effort, not really make any forward position, finished on 10th of 14 runners. The winner here was Mount Reno, who dedicated the race with hashtag. We move on to number 8, Mandela. The one we are looking at is from race number 97, where it was leading the pack into the last 250 meters or so and kept finding something but eventually weakened and finished on 3rd. The winner here was Jawai, who won that race by about 2.5 lengths, beating Mandela into 3rd. Number 11, Thalamus. One start it had so far in its career was in race number 47, where it was in 6th spot when they entered the home straight, then came up with a run down the center, was fluttering for a while, but the winner had already stolen a march, which was Sun God, and Thalamus could only finish on 3rd. Lastly, we got number 12, Ticker. Ticker has had a couple of starts. First up in race number 27, it finished on 8th of 8 runners behind Magneto. In his last start in race number 66, where it was leading the pack as they entered the home straight, then weakened and eventually finished on last. The winner here was Jawai, who won that race in a close finish. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See you at the races.